Right. Yes, I will be high Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube, of course, obviously, you know, say how there. We bring you constant updates about on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Like we've always been doing every time it's your three content analysis, they be about so I see. I mean on the field, off the field, tactical analysis, pre-match analysis, all of that to bring it to your Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. We are back again to bring you the best in terms of analysis and football. I see on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. So like we always do, subscribe to the channel and the show. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notification, and in the notification turning, make sure so choose you all. Send about anytime via content everybody has you are first to have it on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. And thank you very much to all of you who have been sharing the link of the videos as well. I am very grateful. This weekend, obviously, like here on Friday, it's a little tidbit of all the games that are going to go on. I mean, over the weekend, there are lots of them English Premier League, Spanish La Liga, Italian Serie A. Where do we start from? I think that there's an interesting conversation. There's an interesting thing Liverpool's manager Arne Slot has said about Chelsea, Enzo Maresca as manager. And I think it's very interesting. And I wanted to start from that before we even delve into Chelsea match on the Brentford Bebo, the pre-match analysis from Enzo Maresca and the things that he has said about the players and the games that are going on. I want to run you into them. But first of all, today, transfer market, any Athletic is reporting something that I didn't remotely think that was going to be possible. I mean, I was going to hear in this time. And this is what Athletic are saying. They say that Chelsea and Arsenal are both monitoring Alphonso Davies. We all know say Alphonso Davies will contract at FC Bayern Munich somewhere next summer. So of course around this time teams would want these players for free. And according to the Athletic, Chelsea, any Arsenal Football Club are all monitoring Alphonso Davies. Already, almost all of us did understand and agree. So Alphonso Davies was on his way to go to FC Real Madrid. So what happened over here will give you the juice. The thing is that Alphonso Davies ain't too convinced about the Madrid project. He still believes one of the players that Alphonso has always wanted to play in the English Premier League. In fact, Alphonso was born here in Ghana, although a Canadian, born to Sierra Leone parents. At time now, his parents flee the Sierra Leonean war. No? Came to Ghana in Bujumbura, and that's where he was born. So in interviews, a lot of times Alphonso Davies, like I said, a Chelsea fan, he wants to play for Chelsea, and certain times also play in the English Premier League. And it looks as if that's why Alphonso Davies' name is up. And according to the Athletic, he's going to be on possibly to join Chelsea team at left back. And already Chelsea left back, Renato Vega is there, Marco Correa is there, but he's a different kind of left back. Left back or no keeping the width or no bump it down up and down the touchline. More of a traditional left back as compared to the usual inverted left back that we see these days. Left back that can play at left center back. This one is more of a proper left back on the wing, creating chances from out wide, sending in crosses, more traditional and orthodox from that's what Abantia, your friend Alphonso Davies in terms of left backs. This is what I heard from Arne Slot today in his pre-match press conference. Managers, journalists, Ebisa and Slot about the Liverpool team, and the fact that people are saying that Liverpool ain't too convincing, that there are games where they've not played particularly well, but they've not gone on to win. So why is it so? Now this is what Arne Slot said, and I'll read it to you before I go on to analyze it for you. And Slot said it was one of the games, Chelsea versus Liverpool, maybe the only game where I felt that the other team was better than us during the game. He makes emphasis by saying Chelsea have been impressive this season, and so that for sure. It is not as if it's for the future, but it was for the game. And what Arne Slot is saying essentially, he said, throughout the season, all the matches that Arne Slot about, all the games that were born, it is only the Chelsea game at Anfield. And as a match, he believed and felt said Chelsea were better than him. Yes, Chelsea didn't win the game. Chelsea didn't end up even getting a point away from the game. But also in his mind, he has not played a single game this season, and any team has been better than the only team, Liverpool, but for such Chelsea match not bueno. And I think that it goes to emphasize on the quality of work at Enzo Maresca at Chelsea as a manager. And almost everybody is giving him his credit. And LTA Brentford for coach Thomas Frank, he says it in no uncertain terms, talking about how good of a coach Enzo Maresca is and in the kind of job he has done. I've said it several times that it's not just about the tactics that we talk about, but really it's about the general management of almost everything, communication, the plan, how he goes on to get the best out of his players, the development of players and stuff like that. Really, it's very important, and you can see the work that Enzo Maresca is doing in it. In the game, he spoke about a lot of things, spoke about a lot of things that you would want to talk about. And the big game is on Sunday. Chelsea without a branch of friend Pedro Neto. And then we go on, we're expecting that Chelsea is going to go into that game with Marco Correa, Benoit Badiashile, and Levi Cole because of the injury of a branch of friend West Fofana. Then there's going to be Tosse and Malo Gusto making the back three. Of course, there's going to be a branch of friend Romeo Lavia, then Moises Caicedo, up top Enzo Fernandez. And we expect to say we'll have a branch of friend Jadon Sancho, Cole Palmer, and a branch of your friend Nicholas Jackson as the Chelsea lineup. And then in terms of Cole Palmer conversation, New England manager, Three Lions manager Thomas Tuchel had a little day out of the press, and in his press conference he spoke about Cole Palmer, spoke about his love for a branch of friend Cole Palmer and how good Cole Palmer has been as a player. He spoke, said he believes that Cole Palmer can be very, very good as the season goes on. So he wants to just encourage Cole Palmer to keep on doing the things that he wants to do and then get the best out of him. Of course, in the pre-match press conference, and then Enzo Maresca spoke about a lot of things. He spoke about Nicholas Jackson, or Kasa, about the fact that yes, Jackson was upset when he was coming off, but that's what he wants from him. He pointed to the fact that when Chelsea scored the first goal, the Jadon Sancho goal, Jackson got for a ball quickly into the center box, trying to push and make sure that Chelsea restart the game quicker and then go after the games. There is an annotation that speaks to that, how Chelsea tend to restart on games quicker, and that attitude from Nicholas Jackson seems to be spot on in the right direction over there. Of course, some of the questions that I asked about Enzo Maresca on the pre-match press conference now, he was asked about if there is ever going to be a challenge. Unizenko constantly asks me as a Fifi, don't you think that Philippe Jorgensen should be the Chelsea #1 goalkeeper? Don't you think that he's better than Robert Sanchez? Now, Enzo Maresca spoke about the fact that yes, Philippe Jorgensen is fighting, wants to be one, but right now he wants more stability at the goalkeeping department. And Brentford friend Robert Sanchez is his go-to man. He is his #1 goalkeeper. And then Yadi Obesasano, he wants to keep Robert Sanchez there. He wants to make sure that Robert Sanchez is going to be his #1 goalkeeper. Of course, he goes on to talk about Nicholas Jackson, like I did mention. I said Jackson did the most important thing in the game against Spurs. When Cole scored the first penalty, Nico took the ball and brought it quickly to restart the game. 10 players went to celebrate, and Nico went to bring the ball back to restart the game, which showed his desire to win. And that's exactly what I want from him. He spoke about the things that he wants from the wingers 1v1. Says Sancho gets into 1v1 positions. He usually looks for assist. Sometimes in a position to take shots. He's now doing better in that regard. And he spoke about almost everything for his team, how good a team can be, the kind of games, how well a team can develop, the evolution, the proper evolution of the squad. And I think that's a huge one. This morning, I think I asked somewhere that what are you most impressed of about coach that's called Enzo Maresca? And of course, one of the responses that I had was that the fact that he knows what to do each time things are about to go south, considering that he has all the tools at his disposal, an ever talented squad. He's such a smart guy, and I think that everyone seems to be focusing too much on just purely tactics and whatever. Maresca's most important thing he has done is to put in place a mentality, and that's one that if it isn't there, it's almost hard to get. That regardless of the fact that if you are benched, you can still come back and you need to fight your way up. And I think I've said it several times that for me, the most impressive thing about Enzo Maresca is not just the tactics. And this is coming from somebody who is a lover of tactics and football structure and stuff like that. I think that Sewoshe Ejuma Enzo Maresca, it is more about the fact that of the field management of the team. Like I was saying, not Chelsea, you're more like a poison chalice. Now, the communication, how clear he is in the start, the decision making, and then also instilling a winning mentality and discipline in the group of players and what Chelsea. I think that is really important for coach Efrain Enzo Maresca. And for me, that's the most important thing that I've seen from Enzo Maresca as a manager. Like I said, this weekend game is against Brentford. If Chelsea able to go into the Brentford game and then get a winner, what it does to Chelsea, and it gives them a lot of momentum. Going forward, it gives them a lot of momentum in terms of what it can do. This morning I told you about the fact that Gary Neville did mention, say he's not too enthused about Chelsea because he believes that Oshe Gary Neville born, Oshe Chelsea born. It's just about the places where they have been. It's just about the kind of games and the kind of teams that they've met. He's not enthused about how good Chelsea can be or how not so good Chelsea are. And so he sees a big test ahead of Brentford. Brentford have scored 26 goals of their 31 goals at home this season. Home record 26 goals in 8 games. Away record 5 goals in 7 games. Chelsea, if you look at Brentford and Chelsea match, it's away at Stamford Bridge. Brentford seem to be very, very good when they play away from home. When they play at home, they are not the best team over there. Usually, they have issues when they are playing against a team, when they are playing at home, when they are playing away from home. And this game is going to be played at the Stamford Bridge over there. In terms of the most chances created in open play throughout Europe, on top of the list, Bantia, your friend Rafinha, and of course Cole Palmer is next in line in terms of the quality of the teams and how good they've played. I think now you look at this Brentford team, and essentially the game is going to go down straight to how good Chelsea can use the half spaces. Just like the Leicester game, just like the Aston Villa game, constant manipulation of half spaces, the right half space, the left half space, how Chelsea can essentially pull Brentford out of their block, because defensively they are very resolute. In fact, the statistics and then the underlying metric that I mentioned, it show says if they go away from home, they don't really open up to play. They sit back, they allow you to have the ball, then they catch you on their break. They are not too resolute when they play away from home. They usually get a lot of goals when they go away from home, and that's something that they will look to do to make it difficult for Chelsea, just so they can stay in the game as long as possible. But it's a game where Chelsea really need to do very, very well over there. He needs to improve in that regard and then get a job done. Don't slide. When Chelsea were going to play, the expectation after this one, Chelsea preseason was wow. 2-2 to Wrexham, lost 4-1 to Chelsea, 3-0 win to Club America, 4-2 loss to Man City, 2-1 loss to Real Madrid, and 1-1 draw to Inter Nazionale Milan over there. Enzo Maresca says some yellow cards, some people deserve, some we didn't deserve, some were because we did something wrong. For sure, if we can avoid yellow cards, then it's much better. That Nico and Enzo Fernandez moment was a good example. Apparently, if Enzo Fernandez had taken off his shirt, he was going to be yellow carded, and then he would have come close to being, dropped for one of those games. But Nico dropped him, prevented him from taking off his shirt to get a yellow card. Thomas Frank in his pre-match press conference did also speak, but see, they look extremely dangerous and have so many threats going forward. The top of the quality of players all over their pitch. I expect an unbelievably difficult game. They are massive football favorites, but of course, we believe that we can compete against anyone and believe that we can win. That is Thomas Frank, the manager of FC Brentford, of course, on the touchline, hoping to see him. Enzo Maresca spoke about Cole Palmer. I say absolutely, he can be world class, but as he said, he's only 22, and there are many things that he can improve, including that at the moment, everyone is man-marking him. But there are many things that he can still improve, and I think that that's very true. He spoke about Enzo Fernandez as well, and the developments Enzo Fernandez. I've said the last time that one of the best things that Maresca have done is the fact that he has managed to get Enzo Fernandez playing some quality football. When there were times where he dropped him, in fact, he dropped Enzo Fernandez, don't forget, for 3 games, Enzo wasn't playing. Only cameos in the second half, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And a lot of people felt that Enzo Fernandez has lost his position in the team. I see the best thing that Enzo Maresca has done is the profiling of Enzo Fernandez, getting him to do what's in certain zones, in which place, in what certain parts of the game. It's so important, and that's one of the best jobs that Enzo Maresca has done. There are times where we use Enzo Fernandez as a DLP, the deep line playmaker. Times he has used him as a left-sided 10 in the half space. At times he has used him as a +1 in build-up. And I think that it has been very, very important for Enzo Fernandez. And this all Maresca says he can be a good example for the rest. The reason that he was left out was just technical decision. Sometimes when you leave players out, you motivate them to give them something extra. And that's what we did. Maresca and Palmer's laid-back personality. Many big players are that way. They almost look like they don't care about anything. But for sure, they care. And being that way gives them freedom to relax. You don't need to waste energy to convince him that he has to be in a different way because he's behaving the exact way he should. He loves football and he is the first to kick the ball outside of training over there. Of course, that's from Enzo Maresca and the things that are going on from, of course, Thomas Frank also did speak about Chelsea. He says they are favorites. They are maybe the best team in the Premier League right now. They are maybe even more informed than Liverpool. Even though they are top of the league, they are playing incredibly well and are well coached by Enzo Maresca. He has done a top job over there Of course, there is an analytic from the Premier League analytics channel that's speaking about build-up attacks versus direct attacks. And then you look at it and you see where Chelsea are just right in the mix on the borderline in terms of how Chelsea, whether they build up attack or they use up them. Chelsea are very, very high in build-up attack and also in direct attacks. It is Chelsea have arguably the most efficient build-up in the English Premier League this season. Every pass has a purpose and like a knife breaks through the opponent, and that's exactly how Chelsea do. So Oshe, the metric that I'm showing you on your screen, it's essentially Chelsea being at the very top and then constantly making sure that, because you see, anytime that Chelsea build up, and I've said it several times here, that build up is essentially about getting numerical superiority. You always want to get +1 because open the passing option to be able to play out. You don't want to be overloaded when you are building up by the press, because when you're overloaded, then teams who are going to win the ball off you. You want to make sure that at those points in time, you have enough of the ball, you are able to control the game in that regard. You have everything to make sure say you stay in the game as long as possible and then control it. And that's what Chelsea do in their build-up. And you look at this analytic that I'm showing on your screen, it's essentially Chelsea having the most efficient build-up over them. Build-up attacks versus direct attacks for the English Premier League teams. Updated match with 15, Enzo Maresca is very different. Very, very direct, very, very good anytime that he wants to play, getting results from there. Thomas Tuchel, they speak about Cole Palmer, so Thomas Tuchel say everyone enjoys watching him. He's cool, he's composed, he's very clinical with his finishing and assisting. Very impressive at the moment. Talking about Cole Palmer, he says, I have a feeling the party now going to go on in terms of how good Cole Palmer is going to be for the Three Lions. Cole Palmer has become a player you would pay to watch. He's a show. And of course, that's all you get when you go to the show. And of course, Chelsea are going to go on to try and see if they can get that one. Chelsea really have to exploit, the half spaces of Brentford. I'll give you the in-depth tactical analysis of that game and how Chelsea can really exploit Brentford in that game. But then really, this is just the side talk of everything that's going on. The pre-match press conference from Enzo Fernandez. That's from Thomas Frank and the likes also in the lead up to that game. And then of course we'll go on to have the conversation. Chelsea do not share the sentiment from the outside that they are a top keeper and a centre back away from winning the league. The understanding is that the main core is now together, and although they will express market possibilities, there is no rush to go and get anybody in that regard. WhoScoredWho.com says that the most goals scored from open play in the English Premier League has been scored by Chelsea, 27. Brentford was second, 24. And of course, Tottenham also down there in terms of the most goals that have been scored from open play football this season in the English Premier League over there. Of course, the other games that are going to go, Enzo Maresca goes on to talk about a few other things and the conversation around the things that they want to do, the plans and what they want, the success that they want to chalk as the season goes on. Is very, very important as Chelsea go on to have the discussions in there. We'll enter it, we'll have the conversation, we'll discuss how other games are going to go. And of course, this weekend there is Barcelona that's playing against Leganes. There is Real Madrid that's going to play against the Rayo Vallecano also, in the Spanish La Liga. We just want to walk through all of those games, and then we are out. On Saturday, there's going to be Real Madrid playing against Rayo Vallecano, a game that's going to be without Kylian Mbappe. In the mix at FC Real Madrid. Then on Sunday, there's going to be FC Barcelona also playing in the Italian Serie A. There are also games. There's going to be Atalanta going away to Cagliari. Mind you, Atalanta are on top of the Italian Serie A, and they really want to make sure that they get a result over there. Juventus, the team with the meanest defense over Italian Serie A, but they struggle to get results. In fact, in the Italian Serie A, they are struggling to really impose themselves in the FC Bayern München. On Saturday, there's Leverkusen versus Augsburg. There's Mönchengladbach versus Holstein Kiel. There's Mainz 04 versus Bayern München. There's Union Berlin versus Bochum. There's also St. Pauli versus Werder Bremen in the German Bundesliga. In the French Liga, obviously, on Saturday, there's Lille versus Marseille. What a game that's going to be in the city of Marseille. Auxerre versus Lyon. There's Reims versus Monaco over there. When you go into the French Liga table, you can see clearly over there on the French Liga table was Paris Saint-Germain now leading with 34 points, almost 5 points off Marseille in 29. Then Monaco 29 points, Lille 26, Lyon 25, OGC Nice 23 points over there. for the team that's called OGC. So there are a lot of games that are going to go on, over the weekend, and definitely we'll bring you on the analysis today. It's just to bring you into the conversation, to talk about it, and to make sure that as tomorrow comes, we know exactly what we are coming to talk about over there. In terms of FC Barcelona, Ferran Torres, we are hearing say he could start to play. He could start in a game against Leganes, because that's how that game Madrid played against the Rayo Vallecano. A huge one at that, obviously. For Ferran Torres, after the last few games that he has been playing very well. In the 2022-2023 season, Barca has scored 43 goals at this point. As it stands now, Barca have scored 71 goals already in the Spanish La Liga. Hansi Flick has managed to turn the team into a family, according to Mundo Deportivo. And Hansi Flick considers Ferran Torres as an example, especially for the bench players, that when they come on, they will get the job done also for them when it comes to what Ferran Torres gives to the Madrid team. On the part of FC Real Madrid, the good news is that the expected lineup for Rayo Vallecano is out: Courtois, Lucas Vazquez, Orenchi Menu, Rudiger, Fran Garcia, Valverde, Modric, Jude Bellingham, Brahim Diaz, Rodrigo Goes, and of course Vinicius Jr. leading. Like I did say, Mbappe is out of the game. Mbappe is sick with a fever, and he couldn't attend the Christmas lunch today. Madrid players attended what they call the Christmas lunch to try and, commiserate with them. Not commiserate. Have a good time with themselves, have some fun with themselves, have some good time outside of the field of play. And there was Jude Bellingham and Caroline Villa also having a good time over there. Then the whole Madrid family, men's team, women's team, all did come out and had a good time over there. Vinicius Jr. is Master's Footballer of the Year. According to Marca, the award for the men's Footballer of the Year goes to Vinicius Jr. Next week, Wednesday, there is an Intercontinental Cup, and Madrid are playing in the final on Wednesday, and all of the players are included to go to the Intercontinental Cup and go and play. Next week, there are no games in Europe except that one for team and friend Madrid in the Intercontinental Cup, and in the Conference League that Madrid would have to play. Jude Bellingham has spoken and said, "I'm scoring more goals now, playing much better, and feeling confident. I have to keep it going." I did mention this morning on Isra, but essentially, the Inter Jude Bellingham is scoring more goals. It's on the fact that Madrid have gone back to the 4-1-2-1-2 shape, where he gets to crash the box in the final part of the game as a box crasher. That's exactly what Jude Bellingham is doing, and that's why he's getting the results in his game, and everybody's seeing. Of course, Eduardo Camavinga is back in training. Carlo Ancelotti spoke about preparation for the game against Rayo Vallecano. Ancelotti said, "Hendrick, he's doing very well, very focused. He came to Real Madrid when they were the best in the world. We had to be patient with him. He's going to come on and play." Are you annoyed when people say that you don't use youngsters and don't make substitutions? No, I'm not annoyed, because it's not true. For us, we know exactly what we are doing. Davide Alaba is close, says Carlo Ancelotti. And then the fact that he's going to get a star man back into his team again. I think this is where we draw the curtain on this evening's edition on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Of course, subscribe to the channel, turn on notification. Not subscribe, make sure you subscribe and turn on notification over on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. In English Premier League, I forgot to go through the games, but the Arsenal will playing at home to Everton. There's Liverpool playing to Fulham at home, Newcastle, Leicester City, Wolverhampton Wanderers, Ipswich Town, Nottingham Forest, Aston Villa, Brighton versus Crystal Palace, Man City, Man United, Manchester Derby, huge one in Manchester. There's going to be Chelsea versus Brentford, and of course, there's going to be Southampton versus Spurs, and then of course, Bournemouth versus West Ham United, Mohamed Kudus' West Ham United. So, this is where we draw the curtain. Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.